The thing about a no-till garden is that because your soil is always covered, the weeds pull very easily. So you really don't have to put much into getting them out. And then what you do, I'm just going to do this really quickly here while I'm talking. Hey, it's Greg here at maritimegardening.com, and I thought I would do another episode on weeding. Weeding is a perennial topic that comes up in viewer questions, and I'll use this mulch or that mulch, and people will say, does that have weeds? And my answer would be, everything has weeds, and your soil has weeds. In any given soil, just about anywhere on the planet, there's what you might call a seed bank. The wind carries seeds in it, and the various birds that are in your garden, they're pooping, and there are seeds everywhere in your soil. You go anywhere, remove the top of the soil, take some of the dirt out of the ground, put it in a flower pot, you're going to get something growing in there because there's weeds everywhere, right? And some seeds can persist a very, very long time underground like that, just waiting for an earthquake or a natural disaster or an ice age or whatever to bring them back, right? That's how the planet seems to be able to bounce back from these cataclysmic events. And by planet, I mean the trees and stuff, not things like us. Things like us get wiped out whenever there's a cataclysm. Anyway, weeds. I got a bed right here. This is a garlic garden, and it's replete with weeds. And a lot of people look at weeds and they just can't be bothered to, the prospect of having to deal with them is so overwhelming. And for me, I don't mind it so much. As long as I'm not getting attacked by flies, like mosquitoes or horse flies or black flies, I don't mind it at all. I find it just, it's not my favorite thing to do in the garden, but it's part of it, and it's a beautiful setting, and I can hear the birds singing, and it's a little bit of exercise. It's around 11 o'clock in the morning right now, and I haven't really earned my lunch yet, so it's the weekend. So I thought a little bit of weeding would be a good use of my time, and why not capture it on film and just talk through it as I go. I'm going to weed and then I'm going to mulch here. I got some of this. I just mowed my lawn. I normally just have a mulching blade on my mower, and I let the grass fall on the lawn and stay there. But sometimes if I need mulch, and that's just the easiest way to get it, and I got to mow the lawn anyway, certainly on the part of my lawn which is a septic field, I'll take that, because it's just, I'm not really taking too much away once in a while to do that. It's a little bit windy out here. I hope the wind isn't too bad in the recording. I'm always trying new tricks with my microphone today, and I'm trying a new little microphone trick. It's either going to be better or worse. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, let me give you a closer look at this bed and just the state it's in. So, as you can see, and it's so sunny right now, I can barely see what my camera's viewing, to tell you the truth. But as you can see, the bed is quite weedy. There's a couple greens like lettuce and kale and stuff that I've jammed in there here and there, but there's some, like right there's a big old thistle there. So I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of weeds in here. It's basically, aside from the garlic, it's about 90% weeds. So an intimidating prospect to many to have to deal with something like that. But honestly, when you've got a no-till garden, it's really not that big a deal. So let me just get started here and talk you through it as I work. Alright, so we got a whole bunch of different weeds here, and some things that are going to stick around but may become weeds themselves. This is arugula that's bolted and gone to seed. I'm going to leave that because I want to save. I'm going to leave one of them. This is a big one, so I'm going to leave that, but the rest I'm going to pull. The thing about a no-till garden is that because your soil is always covered, the weeds pull very easily. So you really don't have to put much into getting them out. And then what you do, I'm just going to do this really quickly here while I'm talking, but you're just pulling weeds and just leaving them where they are. I'm going to pull them and just leave them there. I'm going to pull everything, just let it fall down. And I know, yeah, some of these things have flowers. I'm putting them right back in the ground. And I don't care. And it's easy. All these weeds are going to become fertilizer, in a sense, right? Because they're all going to be mulched. Oh, I killed that one by mistake. Oh well, plenty more. Or where that came from. right? So I'm weeding and mulching as I go. It's a very quick operation. I'm going to leave that arugula there to go to seed. I'm pulling these thistles. Thistles are thorny, but if you pull them from the very bottom, they're not thorny at all. This is all excellent mulch. A lot of thistles in here. I don't know, whatever mulch I threw on here must have had a lot of thistle seeds in it. This vetch is a real problem. I'm just basically pulling everything I see. But everything I'm pulling out, I'm taking it roots and all, okay? So I'm not leaving the plant in the ground. Everything's being pulled out. Okay, let's move the camera. I'm the third down already. Just pulling everything out and laying it over. So you're turning a problem into a solution, into a value add. I want to use that business rhetoric. I'm just grabbing. I've only used my right hand. My left hand, I need to have one hand clean to operate the camera. So the left hand, one. If you're a one-armed man, you can still do it. I'm leaving a couple things in here. I see there's some dill growing. Just I don't know how it got seeded in here. I've never grown dill in this garden, but I got some dill seeds in here. Here we go. Pull the thistle. And this is all coming out easily because the no-till garden soil is always soft. And I know it's counterintuitive to a lot of people. You think you need to till the ground to loosen it up. But every single one of these weeds has pulled right out and not broken off. Except maybe the vetch. The vetch is a weird one because it's got really tough weeds. That's vetch right there. It's got really tough weeds, but seems like it's got really fragile roots. So the vetch seems to break off. And you just stay on top of it. I mean, I just maybe 3 times a year I pull it as I go. It seems to be around. There's always a bit of vetch kicking around. Because I've been calling that Timothy for years, but people have recently corrected me. It's a great thing about getting lots of subscribers is that there's a lot of knowledgeable people out there that correct you when you're wrong, which I love. As embarrassing as it can be. Alright, I think I'm going to fast forward this last little bit before I get into the mulching part. Alright, so that's all sorted. We've weeded the whole bed. Probably took less than 5 minutes to do. Now, even though these weeds are making, oh, I missed one. Even though these weeds are making, missed 2, making an excellent mulch, I'm going to mulch on top of the pulled weeds just to give it a little extra oomph. And people are always asking me what's the best mulch, and it's a kind of bizarre question because the best mulch is just whatever you can get that's biodegradable that will work. I mean, I've even used cardboard boxes, right? I like grass because it turns mowing my lawn, which I hate, into mulch gathering, which I like. So it makes mowing the lawn not so bad. And someone's going to say, oh, those arugula flowers, those are seeds. They're going to make seeds and it's going to grow arugula in your garden. Yeah, I don't care because you see how easy it was to deal with all these weeds? Not a big deal. Don't care. about speed and getting it done fast. Moving on to other things. Especially on a day like today when it's getting up to 30 degrees today. Unseasonably warm. I'm putting this on, I'm not putting this stuff on very thick. The good thing about grass is it makes a really good mat. It does a really good job of holding in moisture and smothering things out. I just think it's a, you have a kale garden and you mulch it with grass, man, you're going to see almost immediate results. And of course it's high in nitrogen, so it gives your plants a real boost in that category. And you really don't need much, a little, basically just enough to cover. And it'll all turn, it'll be dark green for a few days, and then it'll turn like a brown, and it'll almost be like a wool blanket that just seems to really improve things. So I mean, grass, I don't think it gets, I mean, so many people are going gaga over wood chips. Don't get me wrong, wood chips are fine, but yeah, grass is perfectly fine mulch. Many plus sides to grass. Another great thing about mulch is that it keeps your soil warm, but it also keeps it from getting too hot. So it's sort of like a twofer. You get more than one benefit out of it, aside from the fact that, now remember, every time it rains now, that rain is going to take all these nutrients in them. What am I trying to say here? Underneath this mulch, there's going to be worms working on all the decaying plant matter that I have just set in motion. Every time it rains, the rain is going to take all of those nutrients and drive them down into my soil, fertilizing my garden. The rain will have no problem getting into the soil, because you ever take soil and pour it on dry ground and it just beads up and runs off? The ground here is always going to be a little bit moist. Moreover, all the tunnels that the worms and stuff create going through the soil allow the water to get here. Now there, isn't that all neat and tidy? Doesn't that look green and earthy and healthy? Yes, that's wonderful stuff. And people are going to say, doesn't that cause slugs and snails? Yeah, they love this environment, but they don't mind. They don't seem to bother garlic at all. And for whatever reason, once the plants get big, like I got some kale, you can see the kale in here, right? Once they get big, they seem to be able to shrug off that sort of damage. I'm not exactly sure why. There's plenty of theories why. I think a lot of it's mumbo jumbo, but anyway, the point is that when they're healthy, I think they just outgrow the damage of the slugs. And I also think the slugs like the lower leaves that aren't in the sun. So as long as you're constantly using, if you're using cut and come again harvesting, the slugs don't like the upper leaves because it leaves them vulnerable, right? Birds can see them. So if you leave leaves on at the lower part of the plant, the slugs will attack those. So if you just keep harvesting, they'll be fine. At least I seem to find that. I can even see a little ladybug down there. And a couple ladybugs kicking around. That's nice. I've been noticing them in the last week in the garden, the ladybugs. So they like it here and I like them, so that's great. Anyway, here we are. Things are looking a little more civilized in there. Didn't take long at all. Turned mowing my lawn into a productive activity, which is what I like, instead of just a pointless exercise in making grass shorter, which it doesn't even want to be. Here I was collecting mulch to mulch this garden. This mulch, let's say I got about 2 inches on here, give or take. This should carry this through to the remainder of the season. All this grass will disappear by probably October, meaning all of this grass will become soil. Most of it, I don't know where it's all going to go, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? All of this grass is going to break down and provide material to build the soil in this bed. And I'll have to mulch it again in October, November to carry it over for the winter. So here I just came out here, dealt with my weeds, dealt with the issue of having to water the garden. I haven't watered this garden at all this season, and I don't imagine I'm going to have to water it for the rest of the season either. These garlic just seem to take care of themselves, and the lettuce and the kale that I've interplanted in with them, they're doing fine. Haven't been watered once, except for the day they were moved. These were plants that grew elsewhere that just needed a home, so I jammed them in with my garlic, which I always do anyway. So solved my watering problem, solved my weeding problem. Bed is fertilized on account of the grass. Good use of the morning. So I hope you like this content. If you found anything useful in this, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com. Until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.